What's going on, guys? Welcome back to TTB Ravens Media, and it is a Wednesday, and it is a very, 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 very productive day for the Baltimore Ravens. We got so much news today, just in the NFL as a whole, but then specifically related to the Baltimore Ravens. I'm going to try and run through a lot of the things that have happened in the last couple of days that I think can relate to the Ravens. And obviously, Bobby Wagner is kind of the focal point, potentially the Ravens bringing him in. He was informed that he's being released by the Seattle Seahawks. The Seattle Seahawks traded Russell Wilson for pick number 9. So we could potentially discuss, pick number 9 trades, because we had talked about potentially trading with Denver for pick 9. What about trading with the Seahawks for pick 9? The Colts traded Carson Wentz today to the Washington football team. Washington football team was a team we had discussed potentially liking Tyler Huntley. Now, could the Colts like Tyler Huntley? I know they have Sam Ehlinger. We can talk about that as well. News: Alejandro Villanueva is retiring. Great job, great career, man. Not so great last couple years, but honestly, great career for Alejandro Villanueva for the Ravens this last year. But he was a terrific player, throughout his career. And then we released Tavon Young, which is very sad to see. He was a 2016 draft pick for the Ravens. Now it's only Ronnie Stanley remaining from the Ravens. And then the final thing is that we are not offering like a tenure on Chris Westry. However, the Ravens are expected to try and offer him a contract. That's kind of their plan. So that's kind of all of the biggest news that I've seen. Did I forget anything, Joshua? Because I may have.
Outside the 6 guys that's they got the extended tenders. I mean, other than that, you did pretty good.
All right. I'm very happy I did it. And Nana, how are you doing tonight? And Void says, when one window closes, another one opens. Huntley for the Colts, 2nd round pick. And take, I don't know if that's a name or a spell. Now I got to look it up. It may just be a typo, but it also, it is a name. Kingsley Enagbare, edge rusher from South Carolina. So that is very interesting. Potentially, drafting an edge rusher, I'm down with it. So I would love that as a trade. Charles brings up Wagner is going to be pricey. This is very true, but the benefit is the Ravens gained $10 million in salary cap today.
Very true.
And they still have options to restructure Marlon Humphrey's contract, which could save like another $5 or $7 million. That could be huge. Bobby Wagner could cost $10 million. He could cost $14 million. If we can make that money, I say absolutely go all in, because Patrick Queen is very clear. He is a very good will linebacker.
Mm-hmm.
Tyus Bowser is a very good Sam linebacker / edge rusher. Can play both. Bobby Wagner can be the Mike and teach Patrick Queen how to be one of the best linebackers in the NFL. What linebacker was drafted the same year as Patrick Queen, and everyone praised him for playing so well? Why did he play so well? He got to play with Bobby Wagner. His name was Jordan Brooks. Bobby Wagner is a terrific mentor to have if you have a young linebacker. And he's been a part of a lot of great defenses. He's been a great leader throughout his career. And I feel like he's still one of the premier linebackers in the NFL. I don't think he's the best anymore, but he's definitely top 5 in my opinion. I probably have him at number 4, if I had to rank them. But Joshua, do you think Bobby is the move?
That's a great question. Honestly, I'm going to say no. I like Bobby Wagner. I know he can bring a lot to the table, but honestly, I'm still interested in my young guys and my young guns for the simple fact that, Mike McDonald is back here as the defense coordinator. Mike McDonald does have a relationship with Malik Harrison and Patrick Queen. Once he was sitting down with them in the facility and get a true understanding of what they're trying to do in regards to their careers, I think Mike McDonald will help Patrick Queen and Malik Harrison see it all the way through, and we can potentially see 2 household names, here in the Ravens facility, especially at the linebacker position. Because yes, we do know Patrick Queen was struggling at the mic, and then once he got switched over to the will, everything started taking off. But at the end of the day, in order for these young cats to still grow, they had to be willing to take on some more responsibility and also be willing to learn. So I think with Mike McDonald already having an established relationship with Patrick Queen and everything like that, I think he would be better off in this upcoming season at the mic. So, but if you bring in a Bobby Wagner, you might consider Chuck Clark down. Consider Chuck Clark down. You put Tony Jefferson out there with the Honey Badger.
Ooh. The other big name free agent that Ravens fans have been talking about, Tyrann Mathieu. And I see Void already brought it up. Tyrann Mathieu, one of the premier secondary players in the NFL for the last 8 years, I would say. He does not want to return to the Kansas City Chiefs. He also wants to contend. The Ravens have very few secondary or corners available on their roster. They have Marlon. They have Juice Man coming off of a significant injury.
We have Amon Marshall
Amon Marshall. I'm a believer. I love Amon Marshall. Big believer. Hasn't played since 2019. Khalil Dorsey.
And Kayvon Seymour.
A lot of studs. A lot of big name players in the NFL. There's 2 big names, and then it's 3 very small names / unproven guys that we can throw in there. So Tyrann Mathieu, he can play safety, and he can also play a little bit of slot. We know Marlon can play in the slot.
Yeah.
I want to bring up something else. Could this mean the Ravens are targeting a corner in the draft? Because cutting Tavon could allow for Marlon Humphrey to slide into the slot. We know he's an elite Pro Bowl, all-pro slot cornerback. And he can also play on the outside. I'm not saying he would never play on the outside again. He could play both. But could we now go after another outside cornerback, a guy like a Derek Stingley, a guy like a Sauce Gardner in the first round based on all of these things, and then sign a more expensive player for either the edge rusher position, the linebacker spot, or a safety spot, depending on if it's a Dante Hightower or a Bobby Wagner or a Tyrann Mathieu, because we found out that Jesse Bates got the tag from Cincinnati, so he's no longer available. If you had to bring in one, Joshua, where are you leaning in terms of Mathieu and Bobby?
Yikes! And see, that's the tricky question right now with Ravens fans. Ever since they heard about Bobby Wagner and the Seahawks, pretty much breaking up, everybody's all on Bobby Wagner's coattail, and I don't blame you. 7-time All-Pro bowler still plays at the all-pro level. Why not bring in someone like that? But at the same time, what have we been talking about? What has been torching us? What has been getting torched, which is our secondary. So right now, I'm still going to stay on the bandwagon of we still need to address our secondary. Jose, that would be listen. If they was able to make that work, that type of magic work, yes, that would be a great dream.
I would call it a pipe dream.
Something's going to have to give. And out of that 3, I feel like Tyrann Mathieu is going to have to be the one to maybe take that take that lower deal, because I'm not going to say he's injury prone, but he's battled a lot. He's proven himself, so he might have to take the lower end, or maybe even Zadarius Smith maybe had to take the lower end. Somebody will have to bite the bullet, in order for all 3 of them to come in. But I mean, hey, if the Ravens could make that happen, I'll be all for it.
The other thing that we could mention is how much of an impact is Calais Campbell going to be? Do the Ravens go after Campbell, who I think the Ravens love? I think it's very clear the Ravens really do like Calais Campbell. Or do they try and make a splash with someone new? Because the Ravens right now, per over the cap, I don't know if this is updated today. I honestly don't know. But it says the Ravens have $15 million in cap space. Now, they can still do a couple of things. They can restructure Marlon Humphrey's contract. I want to say that would bring in, they could get $5 million for a restructure on Marlon Humphrey's contract, which could bring them up to $20 million. Do they want to go after that? Or do they want to look at it like, hey, let's bring back Calais for $7 million, and then we have $13 million. We still got to sign rookies. We can offer some deals to guys currently in-house. Or do you think they just go outside, let some guys go, let Deshaun walk, let Calais go, and say, we got $20 million, we have $25 million, whatever they can get it up to, because we all know the Saints have proven in the last 5 years, every offseason, that you can make it work. You can get the money somewhere. And the Ravens have always been able to get the money to make those types of signings. Even though sometimes it's not massive signings, they're still able to be like, oh, we need $7 million. We can get that. So overall, do you think the Ravens take an in-house strategy with their players that they could re-sign? Also Patrick Ricard is another name, but they also have Ben Cleveland in-house. Or not Ben Cleveland, Ben Mason in-house. Or do you think they just go, hey, let's bring in the best vets possible that are actually still really good, rather than guys like, I don't want to slander him, but rather than the approach they took with Alejandro Villanueva, where it was like the last available guy that's outside of his prime once elite, Bobby Wagner and Tyrann Mathieu are still very good football players.
Yeah.
In-house, or I don't really think it's outhouse, but I'll say in-house or outhouse.
Yeah, I think they do a little bit of both. Honestly, I feel like we're going to let Patrick Ricard walk. I feel like we may let Deshaun Elliott walk. Anthony Avery, I don't see us actually bringing him back. I feel like this year, this offseason, the Ravens organization are the best in regards to, never showing a hand, keeping a straight face when they're playing poker. They say one thing and they always do another. Yes. I know everybody was waiting for moves to happen. And I mean, hey, look what they did. They've been cutting people left and right, letting people know what's going to happen. So the only person they haven't cut, don't like to bring them up, is Greg Roman. But outside of that, they did make some movement to get some money. Now I do feel like they will work on a deal with Calais Campbell, and also Hassan Reddick is out there, and he had over 118 tackles. You never know how that can work out. Him playing for Black and Purple. I don't know how Jahi Ward's contract looking as well right now.
Ward is most likely. I talk to Niners fans all the time. He's expected to re-sign in San Francisco, but I would. You're talking about Ward, the safety, or are you talking about
Jahi Ward?
Okay. I was thinking you were bringing up the safety. Jahi Ward, we could potentially bring him in. Yes.
So
my mistake.
Dawson Chandler Jones, he's going to require a lot of money, so I don't know about that one. It's literally the thing of what's more important to EDC and who can they get on a good enough deal, and then honestly we will know how we're going to attack this year's draft. Because if you sign as a Darius Smith, then yes, you can go after a Derek Stingley Jr. or maybe a Andrew Booth. Even maybe try to make the move to trade up to get Kyle Hamilton. Because if you have not watched this year's combine, with these guys running some of these 40 times and cone and shuttle drills, and doing the shuttle drills and things like that, their stock has exponentially rised up, especially Malik Willis, who's now being talked about being a top 5 pick. So if a Kayvon Thibodeau is sitting there at 14, I'm sorry, I'm going for him.
Yeah. And talking about Malik Willis, shout out to Malik Willis. How ridiculous is it that we get to the combine and we don't hear about his combine stuff very much? All we hear about is, wow, he can remember plays. What? This guy is a college quarterback, a starting quarterback, one of the best quarterbacks in the country. And they're like, wow, you can remember some plays. What? When I heard that, Like that scouts were surprised. I was like, are you serious? Like that was
Yeah.
ridiculous. Shout out to Malik Willis. I do really like him. I am hoping he doesn't go to the Steelers. That's all I'm hoping for, man.
Honestly, if he goes to the Steelers, I would say this, it really depends on the general manager that they hire and how
Yeah.
aggressive they move. If they hire maybe a Lewis Reddick, I don't know who, I forgot who else interviewed, if they are aggressive enough to say, hey, he is going to be gone out that top, he's a top 5 pick. We need to go after him. Maybe that happens. But am I scared of him playing against us back to back? No. I mean, he doesn't run. He doesn't run a lot. He's just actually a pocket quarterback. So, and his wide receivers weren't the best, but he put up the numbers. So anything is possible. Shout out to that young man. He has a great demeanor about him, and we hope the best for him. But if he comes to the AFC North, we'll make sure he knows who's the big chief in the AFC North. That's always going to be us.
Yeah, and Dawson, I love that you bring this up. Quarterback stock always rises towards the draft. Very rarely do you see it where all of a sudden teams are just like, nah, no longer is quarterback in need. Like, remember like 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago, a month ago, 2 months ago, it was like, there may not be a quarterback drafted in the top 10. It's just not a good quarterback class.
Yeah.
Which I think is still true. It's not as elite as recent years. We've had some incredibly elite quarterback classes. There's still some good guys in the draft, but all of a sudden we're just seeing it just like every year that there's not a major, name guy that everyone was expecting, because everyone was expecting like Rattler to take off at Oklahoma and then join the draft. Now he's at South Carolina now, I want to say.
He's transferred to University of South Carolina.
So all of a sudden it's going to become this, okay, now all of a sudden teams are wanting quarterback. And that is something that could push a lot of the big name players down, which could lead to potentially the Ravens trading up, even if it's not for a quarterback. Let's say a team, I'm going to pull up the draft order right here.
Matter of fact, let's talk like the Panthers. I see the Panthers actually keeping Sam Howell in North Carolina.
Ooh, Sam Howell. And, the Panther, like the Washington football team, pick 11, they were sitting there and it was like, oh, they're going to go quarterback. Well, they just traded for Carson Wentz. I doubt they go quarterback. They could go quarterback 3rd, 4th round or something like that.
Yep.
So, like, that's a position now where we could trade up to, where that was not expected before. Seattle, if they don't love any of the quarterbacks, they need picks. Someone brought it up earlier. I want to bring it up because I felt like it was a very good comment. Let's see here. It was Dawson again. Shout out to Dawson, man. Shout out to you. They would love mid-round picks, right? The Ravens have mid-round picks. 4th rounders, 3rd rounders, 5th rounders. We could send them and get up to pick 9, and they could stock up on some young assets to really rebuild. Because when you're rebuilding, yeah, it's nice to start off with a quarterback, but sometimes it's not the best move. And the Seahawks are a smart organization. Where did they get Russell Wilson? Was he the first pick in the draft? No, he was a 3rd round pick out of Wisconsin that had serious concerns as to whether or not he'd be able to play at the next level with his arm and his height. But they know, hey, we know how to scout quarterbacks. They just haven't had to do it in 10 years, 13 years. So overall, I think that them wanting picks could be a need, and they may want future picks. Oh, hey, we want your 2nd round pick next year and a 4th rounder this year. And they could still draft at pick 15. What do the Seahawks need? Almost every single position, right? They're losing out on linebacker. Maybe they want a Devin Lloyd. Maybe they already have a safety in Jamal Adams. I don't think they want to go Jamal Adams and Kyle Hamilton. Do they need a corner? They have a couple of really good young corners. DJ Reed, I think he may be a safety, but I know they have a couple of young corners that are really solid. So maybe edge rusher, but you could get an Ojabo or a Karlaftis possibly at 14, or definitely a Jermaine Johnson if they really like him. They could go O-line. I don't think they need the positions that the Ravens want to trade up and get. So it's very possible. I was very excited when I saw that, not just because I am not a fan of Seattle, but because I like the possibility of trading with them.
Well, we did talk about, possibly Devontae Adams and Aaron Rodgers going to Denver, um, and Russell Wilson going to the Commanders. It tended. I was almost right. Instead, Russell went to Denver. Aaron Rodgers stayed in Green Bay, and he franchise tagged Devontae Adams.
It was close. What about
Still
another wide receiver? DK Metcalf is on a rookie contract, to bring that up, which is very different. It's not a Devontae Adams where it's going to cost you $20 million, or an Allen Robinson where it's a massive deal. He'd be on his rookie deal. Same deal as Hollywood Brown. However, there's no team option for the 4th year because he was not a first-round pick. But they could go after a DK for very cheap.
But see, that's the thing. If you go after a DK, I guess, well, we talked about it. Because of who's the OC, would there really be a need? And would he take away for what Bateman is getting ready to do? And when I say what Bateman's getting ready to do, I feel like he's about to prove himself even more in this offense. I feel like he's going to take over as wide receiver number 1 in this upcoming season. So, I mean, I don't know. It would be okay. It would be different. But because of the offensive style of play we run.
Yeah, and I think the other thing about DK Metcalf, I don't want to say is a baby, but he's kind of a baby. Like, there are so many times where you are watching Seahawks games and he is taking off his helmet and just throwing it and whining and yelling at Pete Carroll and yelling at Russ and yelling at all these guys. Give me the ball. Give me the ball. Let me get the ball.
Yeah, that is true.
And that was playing in an air raid offense with Russell Wilson, who would throw him the ball. I'm not saying Lamar Jackson wouldn't, but do the Ravens throw a lot of jump balls? That's what DK Metcalf is really good at. So worried about potentially getting him because he would want the ball a lot, and I don't think we could get it. So I think that could be a distraction for the Ravens this season. Yeah. And how you doing, King Ivo? Shout out to King Ivo. If we could trade up for Atlanta's picks, let's talk about this in 2 parts. First part, how do we get Atlanta's pick? Pick 8 in the draft.
Mm-hmm.
And then we could talk about the second part. What do you think Atlanta would want for the 8th pick in the draft? Because they just had a concern with Calvin Ridley.
Right.
He's getting suspended. He's already requested a trade. They have Kyle Pitts. They're set at tight end. Quarterback, they have Matt Ryan, but Matt Ryan is aging. He will no longer be there, I would say, in 2-3 years. Their defense is lackluster. So a guy like Hollywood, I'll go it a step further. Would you be willing to trade Rashad Bateman and maybe Rashad Bateman, our first, but we would get back like seconds and thirds for pick 8 to draft if a Kyle Hamilton or Kayvon Thibodeau is available? Are you making that trade? It's a tough one.
I don't want to anger my quarterback because we don't have a contract done yet. But I mean, at the end of the day, I know Lamar Jackson understands the business side of things, and he respects it. I mean, even right now, while he's working out, Hollywood hasn't been there yet. So I mean, he's still doing his thing. If you put a Hollywood, James Prochet, and who else? Maybe a Jimmy Smith, but I think he's an unrestricted free agent. Okay, and maybe throw in 2 fourths because they need wide receiver. They need wide receiver depth.
Yeah,
I would do that.
Yeah, I would trade Bateman if it meant getting a Kyle Hamilton or a Kayvon Thibodeau. I would not do it for Sauce. I would not do it for Derek Stingley Jr. Only if it was one of the, in my opinion, the top 2 players in the draft class. That's the only way I'm doing that. And Trademark says, we'd have to get a player back. I think we'd get back, like, we could maybe get it back a couple of mid-round picks. We could get back a third and a fourth, so we could draft wide receivers and stuff. But I do see what you're saying. If we didn't get a player back, what would be funny is if we got Calvin Ridley.
Or get Olave with that 8th pick.
Oh, man. That would be savage. But, if the Ravens kept pick 14, they could still draft a wide receiver 14 and draft a Drake London, who's 6'4" or 6'5" wide receiver out of USC. He's arguably the number 1 wide receiver in the class, or my favorite wide receiver out of the University of Arkansas, Mr. Treylon Burks. Or is it Trayvon? Is it Trayvon or Treylon?
I think it's Treylon.
I don't want to butcher it. Got to make sure. Let's see here. Yes, Treylon Burks. Make sure I don't butcher the future Ravens name. But let's see here. If we trade up, we're getting a DB. I think we'd get DB, O-line, if an Evan Neal falls, or an Ikem, how do you say it? Yeah, Ikem Ekwonu. One of those two. Other than that, it's definitely going to be a D-line, or not a D-lineman, an O-lineman or a secondary player. So I would agree with that, unless it was, a top 2 edge rusher. We're not trading up for any Ojabos or Karlaftis is.
It said that 14, George Collette is there. I might take him. I feel like he's the best second edge. I feel like he's the best edge rusher behind Thibodeau.
I'm down to draft Karlaftis at 14, like 100% down. I just don't think the Ravens would trade up for him.
No, I definitely wouldn't think that. I don't think they would trade up for David Ojabo.
Yeah. I agree with that. And shout out to you guys, 57 people in here on the stream. Shout out to all of you guys. We love the off season. This is our favorite time of the year.
Definitely.
What if we got Ridley back and have more compensation? Yeah, I would love that. I would love to get Calvin Ridley because, and as Modius brings up, so Ridley is a bad pickup. He got suspended and left due to mental health and used that time to gamble on sports, which he should already know is a no-no. That's fair. That's fair in the gambling. But like, I wonder if it's something where he didn't know that it was wrong, where it's like, because I think he knows like, oh, you can't gamble, because he only gambled like $1,500 for an NFL player that was like no money. So it's like, maybe he didn't know that, oh, even though you're not with the team, and he was like, quote unquote, away from the team, he was not in the building, and he was just like, oh, I can now, gamble on sports and stuff like that. And he just didn't know. But, and maybe he did know, and that's a sign for concern, but he wants to return. I think one of the reasons was he didn't want to play for the Falcons already. He had already requested a trade, and then he was playing, and it was probably just like building up into some sort of depression or mental state where he was like, you know what? I just need to take a break from football because playing for the Falcons is not good for my mental health. And so we maybe taken a step back from that. So like, I don't know if saying we shouldn't go after him because of that. I understand saying he won't play for us this year, so it's not worth going for it. I understand that concern. Definitely understand that. But how you doing, Dresky? How are you doing?
Chris Reed said it the best, honestly. Like, he's still under 30. So, I mean, he can literally take this year off and build his body. He can pull a whole Jamar Chase. And Jamar did not play that year before going to the draft. And look what he's done. So, I mean, I would be all for it.
Ooh. I would not do this because Like we've talked about this, guys. Defensive tackle for our 14th pick. Don't love it. And I do like Andre Booth, but at the same time, I don't think he's the guy that I would want as like our first round pick. Even though I do really like him as a prospect if we can get him later. But if I wouldn't want him and a second round pick, I would want like Penning maybe and a D tackle. But if we went D tackle and Penning, I'd rather take Jordan Davis and Penning. So
yeah, like if we take a D tackle, if we go big fella on defense, we had to find out a way to get back in the first round and go big fella on offense. Yeah. For the simple fact, we have now addressed two needs. I mean, everybody said Jordan Davis, if we put him on the team, he could be an immediate impact player, which I believe he really can, and help with the pressure in the interior. Excuse me. Because we have missed that. Brandon Williams, he was supposed to be that anchor, and in the past couple of years, he's been on a decline. In my opinion, I feel like the older guy, Calais Campbell, shouldn't have taken over the way he did, but Calais Campbell did, and I'm happy for it. So, I mean, if we were able to get a Jordan Davis at 14, Eric DeCosta has to be aggressive as hell to find his way back into the first round to get a Trevor Penning. Two nasty guys on the outside on the offensive line, and a nastier guy on the defense and the interior. I would be all for it. That's going back to old school Ravens way, in my opinion.
I definitely agree with that. And YPC, I think you're 100% right on this. The Ravens shouldn't trade up to draft a wide receiver or draft a wide receiver or trade for a wide receiver, because what happens to Rashad Bateman? Like, it's getting rid of that pick. The only way that I would draft a wide receiver or go after a wide receiver is if we traded Bateman or Hollywood, which I firmly don't expect the Ravens to do. So if that happened, then I would want to go after a receiver. But I completely understand it. If we don't get a wide receiver, I don't want to draft a wide receiver unless it's, some guy like a Christian Watson falls into the 4th round, and we have, how many 4th round picks do we have? 3 or 4, and we draft him with one of those picks, then I would be okay with it. But nothing the first 2 days, absolutely not. Casino Life says Trayvon Walker would be the ultimate pick if he's there. Are you talking to pick 14? Trayvon Walker is a great player. I don't know if pick 14 is the right spot for him. A trade back, I would be potentially okay with it, but I don't know how big I am on Trayvon Walker. I think he's really good, but he's another guy similar to Jordan Davis, where it's like, if we're going to draft him, I want 2 first-round picks, and I want to double up.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Trayvon Walker, because of how Mike McDonald ran his defense in Michigan, he pretty much had his guys around and everywhere. They were hybrid type of guys. So, we talked about this previously on, our recent podcast. If we're going to draft offensive players, you have to draft Swiss Army knife style of offensive players. And I'm gonna say it again I'm gonna say it for the defense. If you're gonna draft defensive players, you have to draft Swiss Army knife hybrid style defensive players, whether they can get in the 3 technique or whether they can stand up. Guys that you can put in the middle of the defense to face the guards and centers, or put them on the outside. You had to be able to be a interchangeable piece, be a moving piece, and be an effective piece on this upcoming season's offense and defense for us. So Trayvon Walker wouldn't be bad, but at 14, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm definitely with you there. And Void brings up Calvin Austin, potentially in the later rounds. Calvin Austin, if you guys didn't know, he ran a 4.32, 40-yard dash. He's 5'9". I would be okay with it because he brings return potential. Like, I'm okay with drafting a return specialist to allow Devin Duvernay to actually be a wide receiver for the Ravens. I drafted in my mock draft the wide receiver out of Rutgers. I'm blanking on his name right now. But I would love to draft a guy to become our new return specialist and our new gadget player. We can still run a Devin Duvernay jet sweep, but he shouldn't be our jet sweep player, right? We've got him needing to run actual routes because We need players running routes. We don't need Devin Duvernay every time he gets on the field waste all of his stamina because he's running 50 yards across the field every single time. So I'm definitely okay with Calvin Austin. Just a very shifty, very quick, potential return specialist. Gadget guy. I'm okay with it. What do you think about taking him, in a late round out of Memphis?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that wouldn't be bad. I mean, if you're going to actually open up the vault, sure, why not? But if you're not going to open up the vault, let's go get my boy Okonkwo out of University of Maryland. You can put him in the backfield in that 22 personnel, and also, you can call you. I'm looking at guys that can block, that can run routes, that can stretch the field, not always run the same, not us running the same, bunch play to the right side. I think we're going to get that 2-point conversion. I want us to open up the field. We have a whole. I want us to use. I don't want us just to use the right side of the field. I'm looking for guys that can make an immediate impact. Me personally, I know everybody talks about running back. Someone that I feel like can be a good running back for this team. I know. You know what? Before I even talk about running backs, I find it interesting that we gave an extension to Tyshawn Williams, knowing everything that we know that happened last season. But anyway, I feel like Ezra Gray out of Alabama Southern and Khalil Wilkins out of Bowie State University. Khalil Wilkins actually has return abilities, and he could be an undrafted free agent. And also, he rushed over 1,300 yards at Bowie State University and got his team to the Division II playoffs. Just saying.
I'm definitely down with either of those guys. They could definitely be, really solid guys for us. And Brandon Tillman, how are you doing?
Brother.
We're just chilling, talking about all things Ravens because it got crazy today.
Yeah, most definitely.
Let's see here. Tay says we need to tighten up the O-line. If we draft a wide receiver early, it would be a reach. I agree with that. Definitely. There will be good wideouts late in the draft. A good pass rusher is needed also. I definitely agree with that. Absolutely. This is a very deep pass rush class. This is a very solid wide receiver class. And I'm a believer in we have so many late round picks. Like doing mock drafts is almost difficult because we have so many picks that I'm like, man, I've drafted so many edge rushers. I've drafted so many O-linemen. I've drafted so many safeties, so many corners. I'm like, oh my goodness, what am I going to do? So the Ravens better not miss. That's the biggest thing for them.
What's been the saying? They cannot miss this. They cannot miss with this year's draft, but at the same time they can miss because if they don't do their deep dive and homework and they don't address some issues in free agency this year, then yeah, we might be SOL.
Absolutely. And Devin H says Honey Badger is key with what we do in the first round. I think that's fair. Whether or not the Ravens go after guys is very influential. Because if we get a Honey Badger, where do you think we go in the draft if we get Tyrann Mathieu?
If we go Tyrann Mathieu, I feel like we'll go edge rusher. I mean, Eric DeCosta and you and I also talked about some of our later round guys like Joshua Williams out of Fayetteville State. They had a pretty decent scout combine. 6'3". The hands are not the best, but when he puts his paws out there, he has a stench of reach on him, so he knows how to deflect the passes. He ran a 4.5. He has smooth hips getting in and out, of those turns. So I definitely see us going edge rusher.
I think that's fair. I would think that we actually go O-line if we get him. I just feel like it would be, I don't know, I'm trying to think of a comparison that I could make in recent memory, but I can't really think of one. And I see people saying like potentially cornerback. I doubt we draft a first-round cornerback and use the majority of our free agency money on a secondary player. I just doubt that happens. Maybe, though, we go with a Jordan Davis. Would you be okay with a Jordan Davis if we got a Tyrann Mathieu, because we talked about like if we get 2 first-round picks, drafting Jordan Davis is okay, but Tyrann Mathieu's a first-round pick player. Like he'll be a top caliber player for the defense. What do you think about Davis and Honey Badger?
It would suffice. It would work. It would work. So I would, I wouldn't be all upset. No, if he falls at 14, yeah, and we get Honey Badger, I'm for it.
Yeah, and hey guys, who's the Michigan player that's a late round pick this year? How many guys do they have? Like 6?
Is it Dax? Is it Dax Hill, the safety?
I think Dax Hill will get drafted probably like 2nd, 3rd round, but they have like a linebacker. I know they have their running back Hassan Haskins.
Yeah, Hassan Haskins. He definitely carried the load.
Oh, I thought this said let's use Honey Badger and to trade bait, like trade Rashad Bateman, and I was like, whoa. No, use Honey Badger as trade bait and get more picks. I don't think we'd be able to sign him and then trade him. I don't think you're allowed to do that. If I'm wrong on that, then it could be a good idea, but I don't think we can do that. Brandon Smith could be a monster. That dude is so fast. That dude is another freak athlete out of Penn State.
I'm going to say he does. He is going to fall into the 2nd or 3rd round.
I would love him. He'd be a great selection, I think.
That's a big upgrade, in my opinion. Who's his brother, King?
I don't know who his brother is.
Yeah,
Hill. Who's Hill?
I hope it ain't Justice.
Could it be Justice Hill?
How old is not Justice?
Dax Hill. Hold on. Dax Hill brother? Oh my gosh, it's Justice Hill. No way. No way.
No, then we can't draft Justice. Then we can't draft Dax because we letting go Justice. Sorry.
One hill to rule them all. That's what they say, right? Something like that.
Yeah, pretty much.
Jay Mills says, I see the Ravens drafting a pass-catching tight end. I would agree with that. I do think the Ravens draft a pass-catching tight end. I think it makes the most sense for them because they need a 3 tight end set. Mark Andrews, very solid blocker. Nick Boyle, great blocker. They need that 3rd guy that can just be a pass catcher. Could be a hybrid guy, but
I mean, we talked about that. A guy that I'm highly big on is Marquise McCain out of Southern University, 6'3", 235 pounder. He actually was in the HBCU Legacy Bowl, and McConnell, I know you saw it when he lined up in the slot, man. He was a freak of nature. He was catching the ball, and not only catching the ball, he was stretching the field, also laying out the boom too. So he's actually been working to convert to a tight end.
That's what we love to hear right there. That's what we love to hear right there. And Leonard says we don't need a wide receiver unless he's a nice veteran. I mean, I don't think Allen Robinson's really the guy to go after if we go after a veteran wide receiver, but I understand that. I don't really know how big it would be, but oh man. Ooh. Someone is in the chat.
The man, the myth, the legend.
It has been a while, Patrick. It has been a while. Look at that. That dude from Montana State. Are you talking about Troy Anderson, my guy? I was hyping that dude up before the combine. I was like, this guy, I really want to draft him. And then he was so good at the combine that now he's going to get drafted really early, and I'm kind of sad. He ran like a 4.38 or something like that as a linebacker. Like, it's kind of tough to compete with. But
so that means my boy Mama is still available from Wyoming there. He played middle linebacker. They said they compared him to Logan Wilson.
Oh, some AFC North rivalry right there.
And Logan Wilson went to Wyoming.
I love when they just compare people to the guys that went to the same school.
Pretty much.
Like, it's just like, oh yeah, this guy's exactly like this. Like every time a quarterback's coming out of like Miami, Ohio, they're like, Big Ben Roethlisberger. That's who he is.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's the only thing. Brandon Stevens was a good pick, guys. Brandon Stevens was a good pick. Like everyone was like surprised when he got picked, but he was a good selection. It ended up working out.
Yo, between him and Nick McCrary, there was two guys I really didn't know, but like Anthony McConnell and myself, we both like did some research on both the guys. I love both their stories, and just watching some of the little bit of film that they did have, I like what they brought. And Brandon Stevens was throwing his body at people. He was the only one in the secondary that wasn't scared to tackle. He had a couple mishaps, of course, but he was doing his thing.
Effort is what I'm looking for with a guy with little experience. Patrick's never gonna let you live this down, Joshua.
Hey man, listen.
Oh,
that thigh that hit wherever he was shot at got healed. He gonna make his presence known on the field this upcoming season.
Oh man. Fast money wants the Ravens to get Bobby Wagner. Hey, I'm with you, man. I am with you. Let's see here. Shout out to all of you guys for asking great questions and stuff like that.
Chris Reed, no Elams. No Elams. Sorry, not sorry.
No siblings at all. It's not happening. Unless, I don't know. Unless it's not even Antonio Brown. They're cousins. Let's see. Is there another sibling in the NFL? I don't think there is.
Outside the Watts, no.
I'm okay with getting the Watts. If we get the Watts, I'm down with it. Other than that, no siblings.
Bosa's.
Yeah, I'm down with them too. Unless they're already superstars. No drafting siblings. Feels like every time we draft guys the only player that I know that we drafted as like a legacy pick, like, oh, we got to do it for the Ravens culture, Orlando Brown Jr. Yeah. It's the only one that worked out. That's the only one that worked out. Oh, also, there's another set of brothers. The greatest wide receiver of all time has a brother in the NFL. Simi Fehoko has a brother, Brandon Fehoko, who plays offensive line for, I think, the Chargers. I don't know if his first name is Brandon, though. I can't remember his first name. But there is another Fehoko.
Cameron Hayward brother going into this year's draft. I don't know how he made it on Michigan State's team as a tight end at 5'11", but hey, he made it.
He's got to be a hard worker to pull that off. So
yeah, you know what? If James Cook is available, I would take James Cook. I wouldn't. James Cook is a hard runner.
Yeah, James Cook's all right. Potentially going after him would be meh. The running back spot for us is just so.
Yeah, we crowded.
Yeah. It's tough, but let's see. What other questions you guys have? We're also going to be recording some stuff, tomorrow, to talk about some of the HBCU guys and stuff like that. But, we also have our stuff coming out. If you guys didn't know, we also have a podcast where we upload like all 3 segments typically at one time. So if you guys want future like insights into the podcast, like you can hear the next 2 segments if you guys want tonight. It's just Trust the Bank Baltimore Ravens podcast. I think that's the name of it. Wow, I should know our podcast better. Doesn't really let me see. I believe that's the name. Anchor.fm/trustthebank is what it is. So if you guys want to check that out, go for it. It's on Spotify. It's on Apple. All of the podcast platforms. That's been around longer than the YouTube channel. So
Very true.
One day, someone from the original listeners will come back and they'll be like, wow, look at these guys still going. It's a much better show now.
Definitely. The 2,400 subscribers. I gotta help try and get to 5,000 before the season starts.
You're gonna try.
Got time.
Ooh. Would you take Nick Bonito or Kingsley Enagbare round 2? I'm gonna go with Nick Bonito just because I feel like that's gonna be a lot easier to pronounce. I don't know anything about either of them, but
yeah, me neither.
I'm not trying to grind, trying to make sure I get the name right every single time. Actually, I have seen stuff on Nick Bonito. He's the edge rusher out of Oklahoma. I have seen stuff on him. I lied. I couldn't remember. A lot of times I don't remember guys' names, but I remember their school.
What school you went to?
Oklahoma.
Okay. Yo, Cam, speak that into existence, bro. Let's manifest that. Honestly, I'm with it. I'm with it.
5'1".
Someone asked how tall.
How tall are you? I'm 5'10".
I'm about 5'6".
Let's see here. If you were to spend money at one position in free agency and draft players at another position of needs, which would you go for? I would say Bobby Wagner and then draft secondary and O-line. That's what I would say. What about you, Joshua?
I would go O-line. I would want to bring in Ryan Jensen. I would want to make my defense younger. You know, we got a new defensive coordinator. Why not, give him some more young thoroughbreds to play with and move around.
I think that's fair. That's definitely fair.
And plus, defense winning championships. Look at the reason Cincinnati got to the Super Bowl. Their defense. So they literally slow grind and build. Jalen J. That's a different type of strand right there.
You know what they say? That VB hitting. I think we play more coverage this year, so having some young pass rushers could definitely help. I definitely agree with that, Patrick. You've been on a roll.
Yeah, man, you've been doing good, man.
Yeah. Look at this. Never thought would have seen the day. I'm agreeing with Patrick over and over. Booby. I thought there was actually somebody whose nickname was Booby, like Daniel Booby Gibson from the Cavs from the early 2000s, but nah, just Bobby Wagner. Patrick, we ain't gonna give you a break because you ain't giving Joshua a break on Malik Harrison.
All right, bro. But it's cool though. It's cool. Ojabo in a way. I mean, yeah, that would be a match made story. But look what happened when two guys from high school and college played together. One got the boot, and one didn't play all that. He played decent. So no.
Could we just have a Super Penn State reunion and just be like, all right, let's bring in Saquon Barkley. Let's draft one of their linebackers. Let's go bring back Trace McSorley. Ravens could send it. Trade for Miles Sanders. The Penn State squad.
Yikes. Come on now.
Trade for Parsons first. Hey. I'm down.
I feel you on that one.
Yeah.
Not mad at it all, boy.
Oh man.
I think he's better than Sauce. Jalen. I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong. I mean, yeah, he had Sauce. He had consecutive snaps where he didn't allow a touchdown. But in regards to causing more turnovers, wouldn't that fall more to Derek Stingley's? Because I think he has more interceptions than Sauce. I don't know.
Patrick says, "Give me the guy who can play press, man." Yeah, that's all we put him in. I disagree with this. You lost your streak, Patrick. Kyle Hamilton, I think, is the best. But it was a good run.
You ate crabs in Virginia, Void? If it's not coming from like one of the Baltimore crab houses, I'm not eating them, to be honest. Not enough. Not a lot of people don't know how to put enough Old Bay on them. Like, nah.
Also, we ain't getting back into the food talk. We're gonna be going for another 45 minutes talking about food. Not tonight. What other stuff you guys got? We've almost been streaming for an hour. We'll probably end up wrapping it up a little bit soon, but it's been a really good stream so far. Kobe Bryant, yes, sir. Would love to get a Kobe Bryant in the draft.
Yeah, most definitely. I'm going for Tyreek Woolen, Josh Hamilton, Kobe Durant, and give me Nick Cross. Those are my later round guys.
Yeah, I love that. Those are all terrific players to get.
Those,
Let's see here. I think it's more likely for Bobby. It's just like there's a sour taste, I think, in Za'Darius's mouth from the Ravens, like not wanting to re-sign him because they offered him a contract. He felt it was too low. They wouldn't go up. So I feel like he may have a sour taste in his mouth from that. But at the same time, I'm not saying it's impossible. I just think it's more likely for Bobby.
I definitely feel like Za'Darius will be the one to come back. I mean, he did make a sighting in Baltimore the other week ago. He did get some Jimmy seafood. So obviously he still, loves that good Baltimore food. And then another reason was his reason for leaving outside of the contract talk was Wink. He didn't like Wink as a defensive coordinator. And we have someone else that he could possibly, be more, in tune with and work out with better. And you never know what could possibly come down the pipeline. And honestly, him seeing some of the pieces that we have and the young guys of Adolfo Way, he may have another big sack season, with a guy like that on the opposite side of him. Patrick Silverman, you're doing it again. Dalen Hayes will come back stronger. Honestly, Dalen Hayes has better hand technique than Odafe.
Oh, yeah.
Odafe is a straight athletic freak, but if we're talking about technicians, Dalen Hayes has that.
Dalen Hayes is maybe the best technician on the Ravens. Like that dude knows how to work his hands.
Yeah.
Phenomenal. Nice wiggle, nice bend. Can get around the guys through that. J Mill, I definitely agree. I think that Madubuike will show out. Comeback player of the year for the Ravens. Who will it be?
I got 3 of them. And they all line up right behind each other.
I'm assuming the running backs and Lamar.
Yeah, most definitely. You seen how Gus look like now? I'm pretty sure he's under 10% body fat. He looks way slimmer. He looks way slimmer.
The bus is now the bike.
Pretty much. The big wheel.
I'm going to agree with Void. I got Ronnie Stanley because I think he is going to surprise a lot of people because so many people are writing him off. And Ronnie Stanley coming back as 80% of his former self will be like, oh my goodness, this is the greatest offensive lineman of all time. Like, it will be so recognizable not having edge rushers in the backfield every play, and it'll be incredible.
Yeah. Oh,
the minivan.
Pat the GOAT.
Ooh, great question. Shout out to Pat. Welcome back to the stream. It has been a while. Welcome back. JC Jackson of the Honey Badger. JC Jackson, I want to look up JC Jackson's age because I want to say he's like 28.
No, he's 26.
26. He's really young. I'm going JC Jackson.
Yeah, I'm taking JC. I'm taking JC and I'm putting Geno Stone in the back. I'm gonna rock with Geno. I'm gonna rock with Geno and Brandon Stevens. I'm sorry. I'll take it. I'll take it. Geno Stone got a lot more range. Brandon Stevens is just a young man that loves to learn. You got an effort guy. So, hey.
And Jalen, I think in doing this, I would not extend Marcus Peters. So I would have Marcus for this year, draft a cornerback, not like a first-round cornerback, draft like a second, third-round guy. Yeah. Let Marcus go. Have JC and Marlon be our future at corner alongside a pick. And I feel like we could be set, and that would save the money. Down the line, I think it would be definitely worth it. Yes. I need this. Yo, I need him lined up at quarterback. Where's the Wildcat? Put him in the backfield.
Something got to give.
Oh, yeah. What other questions you guys got? We can probably answer a couple more, and then we'll probably got to wrap up. We already talked about DK, but I'll kind of, bring up what we said earlier. Like, yeah, DK, great player, but he's not like he'll be too upset on the Ravens. So, like, he just wants the ball so often, and which makes sense. He's a great player. But I just think that he would get too frustrated with Greg Roman and Lamar Jackson, and it could be a negative asset. I am not going to disagree with this, Jalen. Not going to disagree with that. Jordan Davis would be a better running back than Le'Veon Bell.
Damn, Jalen.
Probably be a better running back than Devontae Freeman, too.
J Mill, we're going to get a new wide receiver. His name is Mechie.
John Mechie. Ooh.
He's going to be a sleeper pick because of his ACL tear, my guy.
I'm going to – the new one's horrendous.
Didn't watch it.
The old one it's not very good, but nostalgia-wise, it's watchable. The new one is not watchable. Like, I'm entertained by the old one just because it's Jordan and it's Bill Murray. And it's actually got the, cat, like actual Looney Tunes cast, and it looks right. It's got all those, Larry Bird and Mike's secret stuff. So, that type of stuff. Asmodeus, thank you so much for the super chat. Says, have you ever had Taco Bamba? I have not. I've never heard of Taco Bamba. Have you heard of it?
No, I don't know what that's at.
Taco Bamba. Now I gotta look it up. Taco Bamba. Oh, there's one in. Let's see here. Well, there's definitely none in California. I can tell you that. Taco Bamba says Springfield, Virginia, Boston, Virginia, Rockville, Maryland, Vienna, Virginia, Falls Church, Virginia. Interesting.
I don't travel out there for Asmodeus. I'm gonna be real with you. If it ain't for school out Bowie, I ain't traveling that far.
Says it's pretty gas. So, okay. If I'm on the East Coast, I see it, I may have to stop by.
I'm gonna be on the West Coast. We're gonna get McConnell on the East Coast this year. It's gonna be lit. We got it.
It's gonna be a ton of fun.
Jalen, my man, I like you. I like you, bro.
Jalen's chill. You know what, Jalen? You've been awesome this stream. I can't remember. Is Jalen modded?
I don't know. Is it? I think it
He
was.
may be.
It was between him. It was between him and Asmodeus. Last time we streamed, that was pretty much on a roll.
Let's see here.
I don't know if we did not mod or not.
I want to see. Oh, he is mod. Shout out to Jalen. He's already modded. Yeah. Shout out to mod Jalen. I can't see it from StreamYard that you're modded, but if I go onto YouTube, I see the mod. Shout out to Jalen. Oh yeah. 3 must go from barbecue. Oh my man, we're getting into food territory. This is dangerous, but we got to answer. It's about barbecue, so it's worth it. Ribs, steak, mac and cheese, potato salad, chicken, fries. Which ones go? 3 have to go.
3. I only need 2 to go. That's potato salad and mac and cheese. I'm good for everything else.
You know what? I'm getting rid of steak. I'm not a big steak guy.
Really?
I don't know. Like, I'm not saying steak's bad, but like the other food I would just so much rather have than steak. Like any other, like it's definitely my least favorite cow product. So don't love steak. But definitely keeping ribs. I'm definitely keeping mac and cheese. I'm probably keeping chicken as well.
You got
to notice you're right. If you make it right, like steak's great. Like I'm not saying I won't eat steak. I like steak, and I would take cow tongue over steak. I want to try cow tongue. Absolutely. Yeah. I know it's super chewy.
It's time for me to get off.
Like I'm down for it. Like I'm 100% down for it.
This is about that time for me to get off. I'm not eating no cow tongue. That's damn near close to eating pig intestines, chitlins. I'm good.
See, I'm like a very adventurous eater, except for when it comes to like really basic things. Like I hate lettuce.
So, but you're saying, okay, so you're saying you will eventually you would try chitlins.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So absolutely. We're gonna go. Yeah. So McConnell, we're gonna go on ancestry.com a little later.
They have to. Worst Thanksgiving food? Stuffing.
Cranberry.
Now, stuffing can be great, but it's like almost always not good. Like it's so rare that I get a good stuffing that I just think of stuffing as bad. So I'm gonna go with stuffings, but I agree with you, Joshua. I'm not a huge fan of cranberry sauce. One that's not super popular. What is it? The jelly stuff?
Yeah.
I don't love that, but it's not crazy popular. I haven't had it too many times. All right, this is the last question that we're gonna go with.
All right.
Doctor Strange 2, Black Panther 2, Thor. Okay, so Doctor Strange: The Multiverse of Madness, no title for Black Panther 2, and Thor: Love and Thunder. One must go from a theatrical release. Which one would you choose to remove? Guys, I'm sorry. I'm getting rid of Black Panther 2. I think without Chadwick Boseman, I think it takes it away. Like I think the first one was a great movie, but Doctor Strange is probably a top 3 Marvel movie for me, and it's just so huge. And then I love Thor. I love all the Thor movies. That's my favorite trilogy, and most people hate the first 2, but I love them all. So I'm very excited for Thor 4, but I'm gonna see all of them.
Bro, like Thor honestly is a joke. Like I'm actually more excited to see Morbius than Thor. I'm gonna be real.
Have you seen the new Batman?
We went the same night.
That's right. No spoilers, but what do you rate it out of 10?
I'm gonna give it a 6.5.
6.5. Oh, bro, no.
The Riddler made it. That's all I'm saying.
Dude, I got a 10. I got a hands down 10. It is my favorite movie of all time.
He's not better than Christian Bale Batman, though.
I disagree. I loved Patty Daddy in that film.
Like Catwoman and Riddler literally made it for me. Okay, you know what? I'll give it an 8 because at the end, if you saw a little bit of the makeup, the costume, they really outdid themselves with this one.
Asmodeus with another food question. We got to keep going. If you super chat, I guess we got to keep going. So Asmodeus, thank you so much again for the super chat. Food adventure test. Would you eat Casu Marsu? And if you guys didn't know, it is the world's most dangerous cheese. It's illegal to buy and sell, but it's maggot-infested sheep milk cheese and is a revered delicacy on the Italian island of Sardinia. Yeah, I'd eat it.
Yeah, I don't eat cheese, so I don't eat cheese like that, so I'm good off of it. I'm good off of that.
I would eat it. Asmodeus, you got some good movie taste, man. Braveheart and the Gladiator.
Well, I'm definitely taking the Gladiator.
Gladiator is one of my favorite movies of all time.
I did not know that was Joaquin Phoenix till I looked at the credits.
Yeah, he plays the Emperor, right?
Yeah, the son.
Yeah. Would you eat a Carolina Reaper flavored ice cream? Yeah. I mean, I get like the Reaper sauce when I go to Buffalo Wild Wings. Like, I love me some spicy food, guys. I got some Hot One sauces in my kitchen right out there. Like, I be putting that on stuff. Love me some.
He just made me think of the Red Hot commercial. Boy, I'm going with the Boondocks.
Ooh, honestly, I don't really love either show. I really don't like South Park though, so I'll probably go Boondocks.
Yo, for the simple fact they made South Park adults now, that's pretty.
They made South Park adults?
Yeah.
I didn't even know that. That shows how much I pay attention to it. Which better? I don't like either. Sorry, hot take. Don't like either.
Yeah, I don't like neither one of them.
I'm sorry, Void. I'm sorry. Oh man. There's so much stuff going on. All right, guys. I think that's a good spot to wrap it up. You know, shout out to you guys for coming through, asking great questions. Never mind. Hold on. We ain't gonna let Asmodeus donate right after the stream. And Asmodeus, if you didn't know, we did do the Joshua did say what he was supposed to say in the podcast recording if you didn't see it. So would you eat? I don't know what that is. I will look it up. Is it balut?
It's balut.
Oh, this is like the 1,000-year-old egg, but it's not actually like a 1,000-year-old egg. It's like, yeah, I would probably eat it. Yeah. It's like a partially alive. It's like a developed fertilized egg embryo. It's like, it kind of looks like a thing. Yeah, I'd probably eat it.
And I'm gonna pass on that one.
JoJo's. I don't know what JoJo's is.
I want to say that's an anime, but no, I don't watch that. I watch Attack on Titan. Attack on Titan, My Hero Academia. Hey Lisa, how you doing?
How you doing, Lisa? Yeah, it is an anime. And Manny, I would say $12 to $14 million is what I would expect Bobby to sign for. I'm assuming you're talking about Bobby.
Another guy that doesn't have an agent either.
These agentless guys got to come to Baltimore. As the NFT man likes to say, hashtag come to the Ravens.
Pretty much.
All right, guys. Thank you all for coming into the stream. You know, we are going to Ghost in the Shell. I don't watch anime, but I know about Ghost in the Shell. Shout out to Scarlett Johansson, the most famous. The terrible live adaptation of Ghost in the Shell.
Jujutsu Kaisen is actually about to actually drop a movie in the summertime, I think.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's gonna be pretty dope.
And Lisa. Shout out to Lisa. Congratulations, Lisa. Hey. That's awesome. That is awesome. Congratulations, Lisa. Shout out. All right, guys. Thank you, everybody. We should have wrapped this up a little bit ago, but it's all good. You guys are having fun with us. We're having fun. So thank you everybody for coming into the stream, and we will see all of you again next week with a live stream, but we will be recording a podcast tomorrow. We got more segments coming out for you guys talking about, combine standouts and everything like that. So thank you everybody. We'll see all of you again next time.